everyone, I'm Ilana and welcome to Not Good, Not Nice, Just Right, where I share my mostly unpopular opinions about anything that I want. And today, in part due to the soon to be another Avatar Renaissance, since we're getting a live action series, which might actually turn out well. And just because I've been wanting to talk about this and make a video about this for a long time, I'll be talking about, as you guessed upon reading the title, why I think Aang should have killed Ozai. Now, probably half of you are like cringing and are like about to shut this video off because this is such an old argument, and the common opinion now is that it's like, oh, everyone who thinks that Aang should have killed Ozai is like edgy and cringy and cynical, and hey, maybe I am all of those things, but honestly, I don't care because this is my opinion, and I mean, the internet is free. I'm gonna talk about it because I wanna. So, first of all, to give some perspective as to my perspective on that topic, I watched the Avatar series first when I was in 7th grade. So I was about 12 and a half years old, so about Aang's age. And since it was in like 2011, 2011, 2012, it was after the entire series came out, so I basically binged it in the duration of like 2 or 3 days. I binged the entire show, and I adored it. And even then, I held the opinion that Aang should have killed Ozai, and also then I kind of really disliked Aang, maybe to the point of hating him, because I thought he was so annoying and so immature, and I was like, well, I'm his age, I'm not acting like that, I'm not acting this stupid. I mean, I was stupid in like various ways, just different, but you know, actually now I like him more and I'm way more lenient towards his character because I'm sort of like, yeah, he is a child in a horrible situation. Obviously, he's not acting like a reasonable, rational adult would, because he is not. You can't expect that from him. But basically, that was my first experience with the show. And I rewatched it in high school when I was, I think, about 15 or 16. And I also like rewatched various episodes after that, so I have a pretty good memory of the show now, as I am only 22, so I have a good memory of the show. And excuse me, my cat was doing some shit. Basically, I still hold the opinion that Ozai should have died. Yes, basically. So I'm gonna talk about this topic from 2 different perspectives, both in universe, okay, why I think it makes sense for the characters to kill Ozai, and how I think it's the proper solution, and how the characters could have done things differently, but also out of universe, like how the show could have been written better, how the show final could have been written better. Yes, because these are completely different things, because obviously the show writers had limitations that the characters don't actually have, due to it being a kids show. And yeah, so let's try fixing the Avatar final, which I honestly like. many people love the final. I kind of hate it. Like, except the Zuko Zula final ending. That was awesome. Other than that, the final is not that good, honestly, in my opinion. So let's start in universe. First of all, the first criticism, one of the first criticisms that people who think Aang should have killed Ozai get is, well, why don't you think that Zuko should have killed Ozai in the Day of the Black Sun? And, well, I think, yeah, he should have. Obviously, like, from a Doyleist perspective, right, means from the author's perspective, from out of universe perspective, he could not have done it because then we would not have had a final. The show would have been over too soon. But from a Watsonian perspective, in universe, yeah, I think he should have done it. Maybe. I mean, I would have loved to see it. Because, I mean, I hate my father also. He did various horrible things to me, and I would have loved to see him die. If I had the opportunity to kill him, I honestly would have. If it would not have, put me in trouble with the law, I would have totally done it. I mean, now he's in jail, so at least that, but also in universe, maybe Zuko killing Ozai is not the best idea, even though, he's kind of impulsive and does not think things through, so he probably would have done it despite the fact that it's not a good idea, because since when does he have good ideas? But it's not a good idea, actually, because he has no one. He has no support. He has no political support. And, well, he's like stuck in there in the palace. Basically, he kills Ozai. Then, like, the eclipse is over and he's like attacked by the gods, and then he's fucking executed for treason, and Azula becomes Fire Lord. That's most likely what would have happened, because, I mean, it would have been pretty obvious that he did it. So, and I mean, if not, then he would have become Fire Lord, and yeah, maybe that would have turned out well, but I doubt it. I think like he would have been executed for treason, way more likely. And yeah, then it's like, it would not have been good for him. Maybe it would have been better for the world with Azula as Fire Lord instead of Ozai, but honestly, I don't think so. Because, yeah, I know, she's kind of very unstable at that point, and there probably would have been a military, like, revolution, and like probably some generals would have overthrown her and taken over control, because she's just like a 14-year-old, and then the Fire Nation would have turned into a military dictatorship, which is not better than the current situation. So, and then also you do not have like this one leader that you can kill and like fix things. There you have like a bunch of generals that, anyway, it would not have been a good idea. But if you have good fanfics where like Zuko kills Ozai during like at the Day of the Black Sun, please comment below, recommend me. I really want like a good fanfic like that. So if you know them, please write in the comments below. I'm begging you. I need these fics. I need them. But okay, now we're over with that. Let's move on to actually killing Ozai at the planned date. So first of all, let's address the fact that they did not plan to kill Ozai at the Day of the Comet. They planned to kill him before. And just because Aang fucked off to God knows where, did they have to fight Ozai at the Day of the Comet? Now, if Aang would not have like freaked out and ran away, then he would have fought Ozai as the day, like not at the day of the comet, but earlier, where Ozai is not that super powered, and then Aang would have had an easier time killing him. Would have been an easier fight, like risking less. But first of all, but let's say, okay, Aang fucked off. I don't understand why they went searching for him. No, Aang is not the only one who can defeat Ozai. I mean, Toph is so strong. She's so powerful. All that you need to kill for you to kill Ozai is bait Ozai to the ground with Toph like hiding somewhere out of his sight. She does not need to see him, right? She would feel him the moment he touches the ground, and at that moment she can bury him like under the ground and fucking crush him, thus killing him. And I think like Toph, yeah, she's a baby, she's a fucking baby, she's 12, but she understands the importance of killing Ozai, which we'll talk about that in a moment. I just like, it would have been so easy to use Toph to kill him, like so easy. Or like if like, oh no, she's a baby, you don't want her to kill him, well, have her bury him with just like to here, and then Sokka comes from behind and beheads him. We see that like Sokka knows. Sokka fucking knows what he's doing. He would have done it. Like, we have so many options. Like, we don't need Aang to kill Ozai. We don't fucking need him. Now, let's backtrack a bit to why we should kill Ozai. So, first of all, he fucking deserves to die. Like, I'm less annoyed with Aang's reluctance to kill because, yeah, I mean, killing is a big deal, sort of. Killing is a big deal, even though Aang technically killed people before. But, I mean, the main event where he killed is, like, the Siege of the North, where he was kind of possessed by the Avatar spirit. But, like, all those people, all those boats he fucking ruined with soldiers in fucking metal armor on them, but they fell into fucking freezing water. All those people died, let's be real. There's like this one amazing stick that like explores it. Like from Zuko's perspective, actually, like he and Ira are on this raft and like the entire sea is filled with corpses. I'll try to find it and like, or put it in the description because I think that's an awesome stick and like the writer deserves the attention, in my opinion. Anyway, he killed shit ton of people there, so I don't see the problem of once again like letting the Avatar spirit take over and fucking finish Ozai. Why now? It's suddenly a problem. I mean, he let his spirit use his body to murder before. And like he murdered tons of people who are way more innocent than Ozai. Because like, yeah, they are soldiers, they're still like committing horrible acts, but Ozai is setting the orders for these horrible acts to be committed. So like he's the main responsible person for that. So, you know, like I'm fine with Aang's apprehensive for killing, fine, whatever, because it's like, yeah, it's like planned, committed, it's not meta, basically. But him saying that Ozai still deserves to leave? Like, if I was in Zuko's place, I would fucking slap the shit out of him, honestly. If someone told me my father deserves to leave, I would fucking destroy that person, honestly. Like, I would destroy that person. I would not tolerate such talk. Like, I would not. That's like such a horrible thing to say. Yeah, and basically Ozai needs to die because at this point it's their only hope of like finishing the war is killing Ozai and putting Zuko or Iroh on the throne so they can finish the war. That's their only hope because they have no huge army that can defeat like all the Fire Nation armies. Their only hope is by changing the ruler of the Fire Nation. And for that, you need to kill Ozai because if you just dethrone him, he can fucking come back. Which, like in the comics, he tries, despite the fact that he has no banning. Like, still, people try to bring him back. Like, yeah, the comics are questionable canonity, but still, like, we see even like the creators themselves thought it was like a possibility. And so, like, yeah, killing him might have created the martyr. But I mean, it would have been like, you know, if he had like this heir and like a different dynasty now, like rules, and like, yeah, you want to bring back Ozai's dynasty, but Zuko is Ozai's son, so it's not like the dynasty changed, right? It's not like the ruling family changed. Like, okay, you created this martyr in Ozai, but who are they gonna want to put? Azula? Like, we don't know how she would have been like 2 years later, but I mean, she's not a great candidate for that. Like, she's not that easily manipulated to be a puppet for, like, you know, high military officials to rule. And she's not very stable to be, you know, a ruler herself. Also, she's very young. And hopefully once, you know, with like an appropriate amount of therapy, hopefully like she recovers and like understands that Ozai was a piece of shit and like she would not want to do that. And like, you know, she would be once again, she would be no use as a political like habit to like, you know, replace Zuko on the throne. So like, okay, yeah, you created a martyr maybe, but there's no actual actionable things like to do about it. There's nothing they can do about it. There's no like Azula is the only candidate that you can like put on the throne. But like if Ozai is alive, then they can put him back on the throne, which is very, very bad, obviously. And at the time that they discussed like whether or not to kill Ozai, obviously there was no talk about, you know, taking away the bending because it was, you know, something that, you know, came out of nowhere basically. So I do not consider that as a possibility for that moment. So yeah, basically, like, there's no good reason not to kill Ozai because also it's too much of a risk to not kill Ozai because if Aang dies, they like lose their strongest weapon. And like, yeah, I know, like I call like, oh, you don't actually need Aang to kill Ozai, but still, Aang is super fucking powerful, especially in the Avatar state. Thanks, Yoshi. So like losing Aang is a loss they can't really afford, and him trying to not kill Ozai puts him at a huge unnecessary risk. Sure, once they're taking away anything, like it could have worked maybe, but they don't know, it came out of nowhere, so I don't count that there. I don't count that. I will address it later. But basically, there's no reason to not kill Ozai in universe. I mean, he's way too fucking dangerous to let live, and he fucking deserves to die for everything he did. Sure, he did not commit genocide against the elements. That was Sozin, whom Roku should have totally killed before. I'm sure when he died, he or she gave him a piece of her mind about that. Like, we see what happens when you don't kill the evil dictator. We fucking see what happens, and Aang's like, no, I can't kill him. I'm sorry, it's just, I'm not buying that. And yeah, like, okay, like it goes against your spiritual beliefs, blah, blah, blah. First of all, yeah, okay, I'm not spiritual. I don't believe, like, I'm an atheist and anti-theist. I don't believe in shit, but, so it's like, it's very selfish of him. Like, yeah, it's kind of a cliche that with great power comes great responsibility, but it's also kind of true. Like, if you want to be a good person, it is true. And like, Aang has all this power, and like, he's basically a fucking god. And so, if he wants to be a good person, right, and help the world, then he has a responsibility to put everyone, like the good, like the general good, in front of his like feelings, because it's not also like, it's not that he's, you know, if he's saying like, no, I don't want to fight Ozai and I fucking die and I don't want to die, that's not legit. Yeah, you don't want to die to save everyone, that's legit. But he's like, I don't want to kill to save everyone. Here, you're not putting your own safety above everyone else. You're putting your, like, you're not putting your own safety above everybody else's safety, which, like, you know, it's reasonable to do because we all want to survive. It's natural. But here, you're putting your own feelings above everybody's safety. So you're putting feelings above actual human lives, and I don't like that. Like, I mean, it's kind of selfish in my opinion. And sure, he's like allowed to be selfish, maybe, but not at this point. Like, I mean, he's allowed to be selfish. Maybe, yeah, like sometimes people are selfish, but we're also allowed to criticize him for being selfish and say that that was a selfish thing to do. And also, it kind of ruins his character arc, in my opinion, because Aang's major flaw is running away from his responsibilities. And you would have thought, right? You would have thought that in the end, he would accept his responsibility to kill Ozai, and he would do it for the better good, you know, to save everyone. What he failed, supposedly, right? He did not fail, was, you know, he knew nothing. Like, what he supposedly failed to do 100 years before, he now will make up for it and accept his responsibility as the Avatar and go and fight and kill Ozai. But no, he just fucks off to God knows where, and only by the magic of Deus Ex Machina, he succeeds. So it just ruins his character arc, in my opinion, because, well, we wanted to see him develop as a person, and then he just wasn't. He just I feel like it brought him so much back, because it was like, yeah, I'm the Avatar, I'm like, I take responsibility, my job to do it, and then he just fucking fucks off. It's just, I don't know, it feels like a character regression, in my opinion, and I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like that. Yeah, and I think it's selfish of him. It's very selfish of him. And, you know, even the young Chang told him, like, yeah, as the Avatar, you're not allowed to put your own personal feelings and beliefs about, like, the safety of everyone in the world, because yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that shit. It's wrong. Like if you want to be a good avatar, you can't do that. But he did. And I don't like that. I don't like that because I want to like Aang, you know, I want to like him, but this makes me not like him, and yeah, that's sad. Now, obviously, we must not forget that Aang Avatar is a kids show, so like all this rant about Aang should have killed Ozai is kind of pointless because it would never have happened because it's a fucking kids show in Nickelodeon. Yeah, unfortunately, but still the final could have been written better. And here are some ways how. First of all, Aang not being allowed to kill Ozai is a bit of an exaggeration, I think, because Disney villains die all the time. So the show writers could have killed Ozai, maybe given him like a Disney villain death. But yeah, I understand how that would have been cheap, and I'm fine with them not doing that. It's not like, you know, they had plenty of deaths on the show. It's not like it's new. But yeah, I understand how it would have been cheap if Aang's like, no, take my hand, and Ozai is like, no, fuck you, I'm dying. Yeah, that would have been cheap. I would not have loved it, so I'm fine with doing that. But still, okay, you have this idea of taking away Ozai's standing as like compromise, right? It could have been utilized so much better. Like, okay, Aang does not want to kill Ozai. He wants, but first of all, let's talk about practical reasons why not to kill Ozai. Instead of Aang giving the stupid and incorrect argument that Ozai doesn't deserve to die, which he really does, why not think about arguments that are actually based in reality? Like, oh, we would create a marker and then like all his supporters would just put Azula on the throne and like it would help no one. That's an argument. That's a legitimate argument, right? Like, that's a reasonable argument to make. That's like, oh, we have to depower Ozai, but also in a way that he would lose all his supporters, and like killing him, it will like they will just think like, oh, the Avatar is evil and we were right all along. Yeah, you know, that's a legitimate argument. Why not have Aang say that? Then, you know, let them search for an alternative solution intentionally, you know, instead of waiting a shit ton of time and you know, then like going to Basing Stain and all that, and like I'm running away. You know, and having like a filler episode before, which don't get me wrong, I love it, but like, you know, give them time to research this way, to actually find it, to fight for this alternate solution, make Aang work for it. Don't just give it to him as a present out of nowhere. If he had worked for this third option, right, I would have accepted it, but it just came out of nowhere, and that's just bad writing, in my opinion. Like, I don't know, let them like talk to Yue, and like she can go to like the spirit library and research the book, and like let them like, I don't know, I don't fucking know anything, just like make them work for this option. Make them work for it. Make them, I don't know, and have it explained why it's a better option, not for Ozai or for Aang's feelings, but for the world, right? Because, like, sure, like Aang killing Ozai might have been like, oh, the Avatar is evil, and like Ozai is a martyr, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, sure, it could have happened, maybe. But on the other hand, and giving, like, and taking away Ozai's bending is like, oh, Ozai is weak. We should not follow him because he's fucking weak. Like, he's without his bending now, he's fucking useless. He lost, maybe like, oh, he lost his band, like, lie about what happened, because, like, yeah, everyone knows we can just, like, lie about what happened and be like, oh, the spirits took away his bending because they disapprove of him. I don't know. Something, like, frame it as, like, an actually beneficial thing, as an actual, you know, good option. And, or at least as the crueler option, because, yeah, a lot of people, like, you know, from the Aang should not have killed Ozai camp, like, an argument that they say to try to, like, appease sort of the Aang should have killed Ozai camp is like, oh, actually, like, losing his bending is a fate worse than death for Ozai. And, like, yeah, I don't disagree with that, but it's not framed this way, right? Aang did not do it as a way of, like, cruel mercy, of, like, oh, you thought I'll kill you? No, I'll do something even worse. Like, fuck you, now you have no banning and you have to leave, like, in a way that you hate. No, he did it as, like, oh, I don't want to kill you, I want to spare your life, so I only am taking your banning. If it was framed in a way that it's like it's a fate worse than death for him, right? If it was framed in this way, and we were shown that, like, oh, this is even worse for Ozai, we're, like, hurting him even more this way, then I would have loved it, you know? Like, in the Princess Bride, there is this, like, to the pain thing, where he, like, threatens to, like, you know, cut his nose and his lips and his eyes and everything, and, like, but leave the ears so he can hear the children scream, whatever. And eventually, don't do that. I only recently found out that all this beautiful to the pain speech that Wesley gave is just bluffing, and he does not actually do that. I was sure, and I read the book and watched the movie, mind you. I only recently, through TV tropes, found out that he does not actually do any of that. He's just bluffing. I felt so betrayed, so disappointed, because I loved this idea so much, and then, like, to find out that he does not actually do it in the book, it's, like, so disappointing to me, but whatever. But, like, frame it as a fate worse than death, and then I'm all for it, you know? But they don't do that in the show, and it's just cheap, okay? It's just a cheap escape, and I know they never intended for Aang to kill Ozai. I know they always planned for that, sort of. But, you know, they could have planned it just much better, because, like, the sloppy execution of this, like, hurts even more than, like, the fact that Aang does not want to kill Ozai and, like, thinks that Ozai deserves to live. But still, like, saying that Ozai deserves to live, having the protagonist of the show say that, like, this horrible, horrible person who is not only horrible on the grand scale of things as, like, a ruler, he's horrible towards his own and other people, but he's also horrible on the personal scale of things, right? Having your protagonist say that this person still deserves to live and still can turn good, like, I mean, I wasn't beaten by my father, and, like, how thankful that is. Like, not all the kids that watch this show have good parents, you know? Like, imagine how these kids must feel, because they're like, oh, the horribly abusive father still deserves to live. Like, what that makes them feel like, because for me, it feels really shitty. It feels really, really shitty, and I hate it. And yeah, like, for these very wrong, in my opinion, ideology and for the sloppy execution, I hate the Avatar final. Even though, I mean, it's beautifully animated. Sukan Azula's Amitai is gorgeous. But the idea behind the final, I just hate. And it's sad to me because Avatar is still like one of my favorite animated shows, along with She-Ra, Rid She-Ra, yeah, the made by lesbian reboot, not the 80s thing, because I'm not American. I did not grow up on. I'm way too young, also not American. I did not grow up on the original She-Ra, so yeah. Anyway, Avatar is still one of my favorite shows. I adore it, and I still read fan fiction for it. But actually, the fact that I read fan fiction shows that it still has flaws, and quite a lot of them, in my opinion, because if there's something that I love very, very much, and I think is basically perfect, I do not feel the need to read fan fiction for it, because the original media itself delivers all that I want. I read fan fiction only when it doesn't. So yes. Anyway, if you have some good Ozai gets murdered things to recommend, please write in the comments below, because I need them. And also, feel free to express your opinion about my opinion, because it's a free world. You can say whatever you want. I'll be glad to hear anything, whether you agree or disagree, like or dislike. I mean, let me know what you think about it. And yeah, take into account this is my first video. I'm sorry for rambling and for like the kind of shitty camera quality, because I don't actually have any equipment. So yeah. I hope you still enjoy this video. I mean, I suppose you did if you watched until now. Thank you all very much for watching, and I hope I see you on the next video. Bye!